I would like you all to pull out your cell phones and open up your notes app. Alright, now I have a simple yet challenging question for all of you. Take a few seconds and type out the name of one college you have ever had dreams of attending. Alright, and now for the challenge. Take a few more seconds and explain in one word why. Why exactly did you want to attend this college? Alright, now I would like for you guys to keep in mind what you have typed out as we reach the end of this presentation. For just about as long as I can recall, I, like many of you here tonight, had big and wild dreams about my future. I was to attend the college of my dreams, and then everything I had ever dreamt about, mainly my career as the next Vogue editor, would just simply fall into place, or so I was told. Now, with a show of hands, how many of you have ever felt this way at any point in your lives? All right, so it seems like we all have a little something in common. All throughout our school years, we are told that the only assured pathway to success is to abandon our hometowns and attend the college of our dreams. Only then do we have a real shot at discovering our identity and purpose in life, because in the eyes of society, dreams have absolutely no chance of happening in our hometowns. Has this question come across any of your minds? Well, with this misconception in mind, I started my fashion blog, The Stylish Soul, at the age of 17 with the hopes of it manifesting into something that could capture the attention of Anna Wintour, but mainly as my pathway out of Laredo and into that world where I was told dreams were possible. The simple thought that with a few street-style images here and there, I could eventually make my presence known in the cutthroat world of fashion completely captivated me. At this time, the fashion industry was undergoing quite a revolution. Inspiration was no longer being derived from high fashion magazines, but rather from somewhere a little bit more realistic. Fashion bloggers posting their everyday outfits online. So, with my first Canon digital camera in hand, I realized that this particular moment was quite special because I had finally realized my potential. I was ready to let go of all my insecurities and step forth in pursuit of my dreams. All of you in the audience tonight are no exception. The very second that you discover your own potential, there is no telling what you can accomplish. Regardless of whether you've discovered your calling in life, keep an eye out, because that moment will come and it's up to you to take action. At 17, I started my blog, and I then proceeded to beg and plead with my friends to pose as my amateur photographers and follow me to the urban sites of downtown Laredo. Filling my car with my latest purchases and current obsessions, we ventured all around town and attempted to block out the confused stares from the ever-so-intrigued bystanders. There was one day in particular that I have still yet to erase from my memory. In between shots, a woman driving by in her car slowed down, stared me right in the eyes, and gave me quite possibly the most inquisitive stare I have ever received in my life, accompanied with an eye roll, and then before I knew it, she had vanished. Most likely, she was disgusted with the fact that someone as narcissistic as me existed. But with things like this happening all the time, I couldn't help but realize that my craft was highly misunderstood in my area. Living in a border town, having an interest in fashion was not received so well, to say the least. Whether it was my choice of sporting my beloved platform sandals with a pair of dress socks, or my fondness of wearing 1970s-inspired bell-bottoms, no heads were left unturned when I entered the room. Rather than taking the endless amount of confused stares as a sign I should really stop raiding thrift stores, I took it as an indication that I must have been doing something right. Along with each blog post, I'd share my thoughts when putting the said look together, as well as a hilarious anecdote of how the said look was publicly received. eyebrow raises included. But before I knew it, my former view of my blog as a one-way ticket out of Laredo had completely melted away. It became an extension of myself, my hopes and dreams, and was connecting me to a world I had dreamt about since my days as a toddler, flipping through the pages of Vogue. But, as I mentioned earlier, at this point, leaving Laredo was my main priority. With a show of hands, how many of you have either left Laredo or have plans to do so? All right, now how many of you stayed? Well, as fate would have it, I, like many of you in the audience, let the strict standards instilled in me in my earlier years dictate where I would allow my future to take me, and made the decision to leave Laredo and my commitments to my blog to attend Texas State University and study journalism and fashion merchandising. Although I'm sure it might sound like paradise for an aspiring journalist, I can assure you I was in for quite a rude awakening. Completely ignoring the sense of uncertainty that began to fill my heart, I packed up my beloved closet, my 34 pairs of shoes, and parted ways with the two greatest loves in my life. Upon my first couple hours in Bobcat territory, rather than being utterly thrilled that I would finally be taking classes that made knowing the history of Marc Jacobs a prerequisite, I failed to feel even the slightest sense of excitement. Rather than spending my days recording my outfits in an entirely new atmosphere, I spent my evenings crying on the phone with my mother, hoping to make sense of the utter loss I felt. At this point, I couldn't help but wonder. If I had moved into the land of opportunity where I was told dreams have the potential to come true, then how is it possible that I could find myself feeling so empty? Has this question come across any of your minds? In the coming months, it seemed everyone I knew was aware of the true reason I wasn't adapting to my new environment and proceeded to label me as a failure who was too cowardly to fulfill her own dreams. I had left home as a great college dream entailed, only I had failed at becoming successful in the eyes of those that surrounded me. It took nearly every last ounce of perseverance I had, yet I refused to let such labels define me. Leaving home and suddenly returning, as I'm sure most of you know, is seen as an unthinkable act. The only suitable reason a person returns home is because they were too weak. Society leaves no room for other possibilities. Despite this misconception, I didn't let the word failure knock me down. Rather, I took pride in the fact that I had tried with everything I had, yet slowly I was becoming brave enough to follow my own heart. Now, there's nothing shameful about that, so if you ever find yourself in a similar situation, why not do the same? But, as I'm sure most of you are wondering, why exactly did I feel this way? I mean, I had followed the direction that was forced upon me my entire life, yet how is it possible that I could find myself feeling so lost? Was I homesick? Did I feel out of place? Was it because I was unable to survive without the comfort of a home-cooked meal? All of those questions were on my conscience up until the point that something completely unexpected happened. I was taking my usual route back to my apartment, still at a complete loss as to whether I should stay or go. An unfamiliar girl with a camera in hand approached me and mentioned that she was a style guru for a website called College Fashionista and wished to photograph me for her weekly street style column. In all my time at Texas State, never had I felt so instantly connected to something as a sterling opportunity. Of course, I accepted and then proceeded to interrogate and quite possibly frighten the girl, but I had finally made up my mind. If College Fashionista were to accept my application and add my local university, TAMIU, to the list of prestigious schools, then that opportunity alone would warrant my return back home. It was at this particular moment that I began to see some light shed on my conflicted situation. Maybe the dreams that I had been so desperately in search of were within my reach all along. As the semester came to a close, I received word that I had been contracted with College Fashionista and would begin writing my weekly street style column in the spring of 2013. I don't think I've ever packed up my belongings fast enough as I did that day, now with a total of 40 pairs of shoes. I had let fate be the deciding factor in a matter that I couldn't come to terms with, and I was more than pleased to discover that the solution to reviving myself was as simple as a 206-mile ride home. Upon my return, I was reunited with all my former loves, and yet again, I felt an overwhelming sense that I had done something right along the way. So, with each photo I posted, it seemed that somehow I was making a difference, all the way from Laredo. With a renewed sense of pride, I decided to recommit myself to my fashion blog and relaunch it in the form of my own website. I swapped my entire digital camera for the Canon DSLR of my dreams and was reunited with the love that I had lost some time ago. In the midst of my scouring the city for inspiring street style to include in my weekly column, I received just about the greatest news I had ever heard. The editors behind College Fashionista had selected me to be featured in their upcoming styling campaign with Juicy Couture. At the simple thought of this opportunity, I couldn't help but think, but I couldn't help but feel that things were finally falling into place. So, with each blog post and column I authored, it seemed all the doors I believed would be open in San Marcos had somehow managed to appear in the comfort of my home. Now I know what you're thinking. How exactly can a fashion blogger exist in Laredo? In my experience, I have found that passions can truly speak for themselves. It all depends on you. Mainly, your willingness to ensure that despite all odds, you live out your dreams according to your own terms. After countless embarrassing victory dances, in the last 6 months, I am pleased to say that I have been given the thrilling opportunities to work 17 Magazine, The Zoe Report, Juicy Couture, Macy's, eBay, Dockers, and most recently, the Huffington Post. With the success of my personal style blog and the faith the College Fashionista team has in me, I have been able to achieve what I have always dreamt of and so much more by completely dismissing myself of the path that had been thrust upon me by others in exchange for discovering my own path on my own terms. So, with each photo and article I posted, no matter where in the world I may be, I have single-handedly managed to make some great strides in the fashion world, all whilst going to a local university in a border town. Now I bet you're wondering, how exactly did I do it? Regardless of your field, there is one thing that each of you can do starting now. With each and every single thing that you do, always do your best. Present your best work, your best article, your best painting, whatever it may be, and trust me, the world will take notice. Speaking from my own experience, I am now aware that dreams can truly manifest themselves no matter where you may find yourself. So for those of you who are told that leaving home is the only way to ensure your success, I want you to try your best tonight and leave all those notions behind in order to pave the way for your own path to achieving your dreams. I will admit that when I was first asked to speak here tonight, I completely panicked, which is obvious. But most definitely, I wondered, how exactly will my story impact them? How is it possible that I have been given the opportunity to inspire others at such a young age? Whatever it is that you're passionate about, whether you're stuck at home or not, chase after it with everything that you have starting now. Don't cancel out the possibility of being at home and still fulfilling your dreams. Rather, chase after them that much harder. I would like to leave you all with a quote by one of my favorite authors. This is definitely something that has gotten me through times of doubt, so I can only hope that it will do the same for you. Only those who will risk going too far can possibly find out how far they can go. Thank you.